Hey, I'm Eric Dyer, and I make spin art. I've been making films and installation projects from spinning sculptures for the past several years, and these are some examples of some previous projects. And I'll be walking you through a number of things I've been working on over the past year. Next slide. The first is the hot air balloon Zoetrope project. This is a large-scale tethered hot air balloon that rotates and has animated sequences printed onto the fabric. Next slide. To test out a number of aspects of the project, I built a small-scale prototype. Next slide. Took that prototype into the studio. We got to rotate, filled it with hot air. We got to test a number of, we got to test out what kinds of images work best. Highly detailed images didn't work so great. We tried out different kinds of inks. Some of the inks cracked a bit, but then we also came up with some successful tests. We're ready to move on to the next stage. Next slide. Something else I absolutely had to try out was the LP record Zoetrope. The image is printed onto the vinyl record, and theoretically the camera tracks across the record along with the needle. And this is wide open for collaboration, by the way. Next slide. To get out of the studio, occasionally I've started to perform animations from different projects as sort of a live DJ thing. And in this example, these are animations from the hot air balloon Zoetrope project. It's sort of Tom Swift meets the biotech era. These are all mechanical, organic, hybrid creatures. And it's been great to interact with the public more and get out. And this is last March after the Armory show in Brooklyn at Bunny Cutlet Gallery. Next slide. Also in April, I taught a workshop, Zoetrope making workshop in Shanghai. Next slide. And while I was there, collected all kinds of motion imagery of the city. And I became really enamored with the parasol or the umbrella. Had my students bring their umbrellas to class and do all these motions with them. Next slide. And I realized how awesome it would be to actually put the animation on the umbrellas themselves. And so I'm just scratching the surface of this project. I just started it, but I think it's going to be this sort of exploring this kind of contradictions, wonderful contradictions of this communist, extreme capitalist society that's happening over there right now. So this is like the sort of first prototype. I'm excited about it. And I brought one with me. Next slide. So this is the big project. It is a Zoetrope Tunnel. It's covered on the inside and out with animated sequences. And the public moves through the space with these handheld strobe lights, exploring the animation much like a paleontologist might explore a newly discovered cave. Next slide. So just as an example of what some of the imagery might look like or what kind of media could be used, this is all cut paper. So cut paper sort of exploring with the strobe light. Next slide. 3D prints could be on the tunnel. Next slide. This could be like layered acetate, and also the strobe lights will be variable speed, adding a level of interactivity to the piece. So as you change the speed of the strobe, you could discover different layers of content within the animation. Next slide. And to test out this project, I also built this, had a small-scale prototype fabricated. It'd also be a self-standing art piece, but like the big one, it's covered on the inside and out with Velcro. So you can cover the whole thing in one kind of content and then switch it out and cover it with something else. So I'll be working on that over the next few months, putting animation on the tube. Next slide. So I see this as a collaborative project with an institution like an art museum or a history museum or a science museum. And instead of communicating a subject through video or pictures or text, if you can imagine being immersed in sculpture come to life. And so this is ready to move into the pre-production phase, and we're looking for an institutional commissioner. That's it. Thank you very much.